Welcome back to another episode of Power Conversation with Councilman OD Harris. Today, the stories are real, the impacts are real, and many of you that is watching this right now could have been impacted by through a loved one, or you could be facing the issue right now. Listen, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The conversation begins now. So today we have the founder, Elizabeth Clough from Impact One, as well as Brenda Hamilton, who is also a board member and a survivor. How are you ladies doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Good.
Yes,
Well, thank you for coming on and being able to talk to our community about breast cancer awareness. Elizabeth, you are the founder of Impact One.
Yes.
Tell us about what got you started tell us about this foundation.
How it
and
all
tell
started.
us, tell us, take us back to the beginning. Take us
Oh,
back. Take us
gosh.
back.
Well, no. Honestly, it really trickles back to when I actually was diagnosed. And I was a 36-year-old who thought, you don't get diagnosed till you're in your 50s. And so to make a long story short, it was a hard journey. And I had a lot of support, and it was hard. And so when I was going through that journey, and it wasn't just a 6-month, it led on to years because of so many setbacks, I kind of was haunted by the fact that if I was having such a hard time, what about the women out there with no help? Single moms, uninsured moms, moms who have zero support, and it bothered me on a daily basis. And so I kind of made this small promise to myself that when I was better, mentally and physically, I would find a way to help one woman. And that led to many. And so our foundation was birthed in 2015, and from thinking that we could help a small community, we're helping women all over Arizona.
That's wonderful. And I like Impact One. Was that the journey of
Yeah.
saying, hey, I went through this by myself, but now I'm going to actually help the next one out?
One more, one woman.
One more, one at a time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how has the support been since you started your organization?
You know what? I think anytime you're starting an organization to help someone, it's a 24-hour process. It's a learning curve. But you know what? The community in Arizona is pretty amazing. And I don't think we give as much credit as we do to realize how many supporters and resources there are out there. And by getting our feet on the ground and actually being able to meet people all over wherever they are in their journey. It could be a woman newly diagnosed. It could be a grandmother who is living on her own and has been diagnosed. We're so diverse that it was just a learning curve. But now it's become such second nature because we live it and we work it. And so it's really been a good experience. I mean, a lot of people might say, oh gosh, how did you do something that seems really hard? But you know what? It's very worth it. The stories that we learn along the way are they're worth it. They're worth it.
Good. I'm glad that you have a smile on your face while talking about this.
Yeah.
And Brenda, you are a board member. You also is a survivor. Tell us about how you met Elizabeth, how you became connected to the organization, and not only that, you decided to step up and be a board member on top of that.
Well, it was, it was kind of like a no-brainer. I met Elizabeth one day through another organization, and when you're having conversation with someone and you just click. And so then, just time went on, and I gave her a call one day, and I was like, hey, and she was like, I was thinking about you. I've been working on something, and I really want you to be a part of it. And I was like, but she didn't tell me what she was working on. I just said, okay, whatever you're working on, count me in. Because I just knew we clicked. I had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. But I'm just thrilled and honored that, that Elizabeth thought enough of me to say, you're the type of person that I want to pull in here and help to continue to impact and make a difference. And so, but like Elizabeth said, through our own experiences that, you can't teach that, that wisdom and knowledge that you get through the unfortunate, but being able to grasp that there is another side to what you go through, and that's the key word, is through, and so to be able to make an impact in the lives of other women who, like she said, are so varied from the beginning, knowing what we experienced personally, so that some of the things that we experienced, we can prevent someone else from going through, or the things we didn't know, we can share our knowledge. And so that's what the push is, because there's definitely, like you said, she's smiling, I'm sitting here smiling,
Yes.
but we had some dark days that that would make you, question why we're not sitting in a corner someplace rocking back and forth. But with that knowledge, we can prevent someone else from feeling that darkness, or just letting them know, while you're in the dark, here's a hand for you to grab onto, and let me shed some light on you. So,
And let's provide you with vital products and resources that are not covered by insurances and that are not, usually accessible. We have women in Globe, Arizona. Their only store is maybe a dollar store. And if you're being told to go get all these items before you get ready to have a mastectomy, can you imagine? I mean, it's hard when I can't find a store to go get myself a soda. You go crazy because you can't get what you need. And this is kind of that feeling that Brenda and I feel, that because we walked that. I mean, to be real with you, I had the mastectomy and was sent home with an ACE bandage wrapped around me. And I know we've come so far. We've come so far to where there's amazing products out there. And I believe in a lot of these doctors that are understanding. But how do I wrap myself? When my husband's gone and my little kids are tugging on my leg. And so those are the things that just gut wrenched us, that we felt like we had to help these women who were in our shoes. And so we work with vendors and businesses that donate product to us, and we're able to ship that to women who are waiting for some hope and help.
Yeah, so Brenda, how have you seen this impacting other communities?
So we know that in the African American community, there's a lot of cultural or the I don't know if, I'll say the word racism, but the disparity in treatments for different communities, our community in particular. So our numbers are higher than other ethnicities, and we're higher being diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. And I think, we can probably point a finger in different areas as to why that is. But knowing that triple negative is shooting us up the ranks as far as being the number one group of women that are being diagnosed with that is definitely problematic. And with triple negative being a more aggressive type of cancer, we can, we need to do more work and bring more light to that component as a whole. So with what we're finding at Impact One, when we receive our applications, we're finding that women are younger being diagnosed. And then if you want to shed some more light on that, as far as with this diagnosis and the type of treatments that are going on in regards to that, then we can, because we're trying to do our part and shed light on that. But systematically, as society as a whole, we need to keep the light on that to get those resources out and available to women all across the spectrum, for all women. But of course, again, because we're talking about triple negative and Black women, us being at the top of the ranks. So what you're finding when you see applications is pretty much.
And I think what it is the women are younger, and the diagnosis is usually triple negative. And the thing is that we haven't mastered, and I'm not a doctor, but we haven't mastered treatment where, I mean, it's a lot of people are in remission and they're doing great, but it is very aggressive. And so, again, if we go back to knowing your body, signs and symptoms, mammogram, putting all that in your actual life is going to prevent you from maybe having that aggressive cancer that's so far gone that it's too hard to really treat. And so in the African American community, the statistics are that they more are triple negative, and it's the most aggressive. And so we're just trying to really push that component to women, not to scare anyone, but you won't be in that position if we are really at the very beginning of your self-awareness in your body. So,
Yeah, and I like the proactiveness
Yes.
of what you guys are doing. But it is paying attention to your
Yeah.
body and recognizing that there could be something
Yep.
there.
Yep.
I know that African American community is always quiet,
Yes.
private,
Private.
don't say nothing.
Yep.
We have high sense of faith, so there's always this
Yep.
pray about it,
Yes.
Right.
and you'll get healed from it
Yeah.
and those type of things.
Right.
And I think
And we
that
need all of it.
we need all
we
of
need
it.
all of
Right.
it, you know?
Yes.
So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And we're finding, go ahead. I say we're finding in the Latino community as well, very similar, very private, very family oriented. But we're trying to take that stigma of fear away of getting these mammograms. I think they feel like once they get it, they're going to be diagnosed. And that's not what it is.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
What about the Asian community?
actually, you know, their statistics are under, I mean, you've got the African American that is the highest statistic, and then white women, and then the Latino has gone down. And I
Yeah.
think we're getting in those communities and really pushing the awareness piece of mammograms. And we're getting locally here, I can speak for Arizona, that we work with mobile units that actually go into the communities where they feel safe. It might be at their local grocery store, and they go there and so, oh, I'm going to get my mammogram, and I don't have to explain or get a doctor's referral or anything like that. You go, as long as you have a doctor to send your results to, it's just an easier process. So we're getting into those communities to allow that to be an easier thing for them. We see the Asian, but again, it's definitely a cultural thing where they work within their community, and so we're doing it. We're working with Tuba City in the Navajo Nation, and again, that's another cultural barrier because me speaking to them maybe might not be something where they feel as much trust, but if we can tap into their community, tap into the oncology centers where they have that trust, we can help with assistance there. And so we're doing our best in little ways. And so when we say all women, we mean all women.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And men too.
Yes,
And
me too.
you know, just as far as the awareness piece, I don't, you know, if there's any men that are out there looking for the products that we offer, hey, you know, sign up on the application. But, you know, just like I said, it all comes back to being aware of who you are as an individual and what's your normal, because your normal is going to be different from the next person's. And just knowing your normal makes all the difference. And that's what being an advocate for yourself means. Because like I was saying earlier, we can say, oh, be an advocate for yourself. But what does that mean? It just means knowing who you are. And if something is there that wasn't there 2 days ago, but it's still there the following week, advocate for you, you know.
And I want to end, if I can, you know, if anyone's out there that feels like, gosh, I don't have the insurance for a mammogram,
Right.
you can reach out to us. We can help provide resources. There's resources out there that can help get you a free mammogram. And I also want to say that a good rule of thumb, and it doesn't mean everyone has to do this, but I always say, have your mammogram in October. You'll never forget.
That's it.
Have it in October because
Why
then
October?
because it's already Breast Cancer Awareness Month, in my
Got it.
opinion, and you're going to yearly remember that, that's the month I always do my or have it on your birthday. You know, I know that sounds silly, but that's the way you can really remember, because I forget our doctor's appointments. We can't remember yesterday. But things like that you'll remember, and you can say to your wife or your mother or whatever, Mom, do the mammogram on your birthday. Give something back to yourself.
Right.
Be proud of what you just did for your family and you. That's just a little tip. I don't know. Just a thought.
I appreciate it. We're going to take a commercial break real quick. We're going to talk about some of these dark days that both survivors, Elizabeth and Brenda, have experienced right after this.
Impact One was founded to provide services and education on breast health to each and every woman in need.
A friend of mine contacted me and wanted to see if I could find some prosthetics for some people in need that she knew. I made many calls, only to find out that the resources out there are not there.
I was 29 years old when I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. I didn't know what I needed help with, so I just went without.
I got a sheet of paper from the hospital saying, here are some resources. And that was it. So the first number that I called on that resource list was Impact One. And Elizabeth answered the phone. She just had so many resources there for me and was such a wealth had such a wealth of information. And she made me feel, like she cared about me. And at that time I needed that. And she let me know that, there's hope. You're gonna move forward. You're gonna be okay.
I saw 4 women that turned their life around by receiving this product. I love the idea of hope in a box. Basically, I felt it was more of an empowerment for women. They felt good about themselves, and it empowered them to just keep going forward.
Impact One was founded to provide services and education on breast health to each and every woman in need. We created Hope in a Box to ease the burden of vital essentials needed during the journey of a breast cancer diagnosis. We often know someone who's been affected by this disease.
Well, when my mom was first diagnosed, I was very scared at first. I didn't know how to react to it. I didn't know the type of feelings were there because I never had experienced it before.
We all went through the journey together, and we're still on the journey. It's not just your immediate family, but your community of friends and loved ones and people you meet and come in contact with.
Impact One does something that I never knew anybody needed, which is they are there for you when you need them most.
We will send you those items that you need, even if you don't know what you need. My name is Charlene, and I'm one.
I am Norma, and I am one.
I'm Brenda, and I'm one.
I'm Micaiah, and I'm one.
Many of us do know someone who's been affected by breast cancer. It touches us all directly or indirectly. It has touched me, and I'm one.
All right. Well, welcome back.
Yeah.
So before we went on commercial break, we talked about these dark days.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. Talk about your experience in surviving cancer, but what were some of the things that you did not do that you found out later you should have did? And then talk to us about what you were going through when you first, when the news was revealed to you that your body was changing in this way.
Yeah. You want me to go first?
Oh, yeah.
Again, I'm going to always say we've come so far. When I was diagnosed over 10 years ago, I was searching for blogs of someone that wrote their story so I could compare it and think, okay, I'm going to be there one day. Everything's so accessible. We can find so many resources through social media and all these platforms. So where we are now is so different than even where we were 10 years ago. But I think the dark thing is that you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so when you're in that journey, I call it, you're just taking one step forward, and two steps back.
Yeah.
The thing is I'm here, and I'm alive.
Yes.
And thank you for research, and thank you for the medications that are out there that are keeping me alive now. I'm stage 4, and I've been living with breast cancer for quite a long time. And that's because of how far we've come. No one would ever know, just like Brenda, no one would ever know that we are living this, but you can. And so I'm trying to give the hope over the dark. The dark is that, you know, we don't ask enough questions so that we can have the light. We have to be our own advocate, and you have to ask the right questions. And questions are, you know, how long is this treatment period? Will I have radiation? What stage is 3B versus stage 4? You know, I know those are a lot of questions and seems overwhelming, but we can find that now at our fingertips through all the social media. And I think really what it comes down to is that knowing you will get through it. That's just what I say to people. You will get through it. It's going to be hard. You're going to have some dark times. It's going to be very low, but know that you'll get through it. And I think that that is what we tell women all the time. And even women who know they need to get their mammograms and are scared, we kind of just bring them in that fold and let them know you're still part of us because you are needing to be an advocate for yourself and to stay healthy. And so my dark time turned into light because I just kept going. I got up. I might have laid on the couch and threw cereal on the floor to my babies, but I got up and I kept going. And I think that that's really the only answer. And it's easy for me to say that, but we've been through it, so you have to, you know. So
You've been through it and you're going through it. But you continue. I'm just super impressed that you still keep a positive attitude. You still have a smile on your face. You're not allowing the circumstance which is your reality, stand in the way of what you're doing positively to really impact women and people who may experience this type of obstacle. And sometimes I have to, you know, think like all the stuff that I go through, you know, when you hear about someone else going through something else, you're like, man, am I really going through?
Right.
You know, is this really my reality?
Right.
Because it could be, this could be an alternative reality. And I think that's important for the viewers to know that, you know, sometimes you may think that you're going through everything and someone else is just going through just something just a little bit more.
Yes.
So we all recognize our own individual struggles and we have to work through them. But like you said, there's always something else that could be coming your way. So it just gives you a different perspective and puts things in, okay, I can manage this because we're all equipped. You know.
And how's your journey been? You're active right now.
I'm not active in as far as treatment goes, but so it's a different type of active. So I had 2 different types of cancer, and so with the treatment with one causes long-term side effects that brought me to another diagnosis and other health issues. So when someone says, oh, she has cancer, it doesn't just stop with, oh, she has cancer. So start pulling back those layers, as I say, you know, and you'll find out, oh, what does that really mean? What, you know, one thing leads to another. Is she a mom? Is she single? Is she married? And so it impacts and it keeps going on as you pull back those layers. So for me, it's just been, unfortunately, I'm not a textbook. I don't think either of us had the luxury of being textbook. So we don't, this treatment, this, and then you're done. No, it's this, but wait a minute, you know, then there's that chart. Go this way, try this way, and then we'll get back on the main path, and then you're on the main path, and then there's this and that. So it's a continuous, ongoing issue. I say battle usually, you know, because I'm just, every day I'm up for a fight, you know. I believe it. I put on my whole armor and I'm like, okay, I woke up, so let's go to work, you know? And that's just how we have to, that's my perception now, you know, versus, it's raining outside. You know, I'm like, I'm up, I made it through, you know, I made the wake up call round, you know, so it just gives you a little bit of a different perspective and just trying to keep that motivation going. Does it stay like that all the time? Absolutely not. We're human. So yeah, you know, I need a lift up, I need time out. So, you know, I think we can all say that so we can relate to that, but we just,
it's courage.
gotta go.
I just see so much courage in you 2 eyes. it inspires me because of the
thank you.
fact that, so many people like at home, my mom, she was a survivor, and she made it through. But it was interesting that we were talking about that men can go through the same symptoms.
Right.
And us men, we could be very stubborn creatures.
Yeah.
Say that again.
We can be stubborn creatures. I think God made us just a little bit different. And I think he added stubborn to our ways. But, but we're, I grew up in a household where, hey, I don't want to go to the doctors. My wife, she stays on me. You're going to the doctors. You're going to make sure that your health is on point.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're going to look at doing the right thing with your health. And
Right.
she stays on that. Can you give us some educational moments where, something that the viewers need to know, like, there's some, things like you was talking about, I think we was talking about on break, was just how do you feel for yourself to feel these inconsistencies, lumps in your
Right.
body? How does one check? How do men check? And then how do we then move forward if we
Right. Well, I will say men and women, the breast cancer diagnosis is the same, believe it or not.
Okay.
With women, because we have breasts that actually have a lot more tissue, those signs and symptoms are a little bit harder to find, especially younger women who have dense breasts. And that is where the mammograms come in. Because years ago we had the 2D.
Okay.
But the 3D is able to now detect the smallest, tiniest cancers that are actually in dense breast.
So 2D is like an imaging.
It's an imaging, but 3Ds just come around and it's just so much more clear that a 2D might not find the tiniest one, but the 3D will in dense breasts. But with men, there's obviously their symptom will be more visible, but we tend to ignore those and think that, like we were talking, that it could be something he strained, exercise, pulled something, and it will go away. And so by the time they realize that, hey, I better have this checked, it could be staged the same as women, and treatment plan is the same as women. But as far as mammograms go, when we talk about, Brenda, we always say, everyone asks us age. Normally, 40 is the age recommended by American Cancer Society.
Is that for men and women?
Well,
more
men don't really normally get an actual mammogram. What they can do ultrasounds and things like that if there's signs. With women, because of the breast tissue, we are recommending, American Cancer Society is recommending age 40. However, if you have a family history, if you have someone that has had breast cancer, that moves you up in the line, and that allows you to tell the doctor, look, I have had a family history of breast cancer, and I want to have a mammogram at 35. I was 36, had no history, and my experience, and this might relate to any in the audience, is that I was healthy, I was running, I wore a sports bra. Every time I put that sports bra on, the right side felt weird. It felt tight, it felt like something wasn't right, and I just kept, I was 36, like I wasn't thinking. I had to beg my insurance to cover the mammogram at 36. But thankfully, I had a doctor, and many doctors can kind of go, well, you're young. Thankfully, he said, let's just, here, get the mammogram when you have time. Here's your script. You got it approved when you have time. So I dropped kids off at preschool and went and had it, thought nothing of it. But my point is that if you have a family history, be more aggressive about it. There's nothing wrong with saying that you need to have a mammogram. And if you have a family history, now we have genetic testing. The genetic testing, if you have people in your family that goes down the line, they can do the BRCA1 and BRCA2 testing and give you your statistics of the likelihood of you getting breast cancer. So we're now working with previvors, women who would have probably gotten it statistically, but went in, had the mammogram, had the mastectomy, did the prevention, and they're going to be good. But really, I think at the end of the day, we really need to realize what is our age, what is our family history, and you need to get the 3D mammogram. That's just my belief, because we're detecting the smallest cancers, and that is truly, to me, the prevention.
Yeah.
That's what's saving us is our mammograms.
And the other piece is, along with everything Elizabeth said, is your awareness. Like you mentioned, doing your checks, doing your self-monthly checks. You know, if you're not sure how, there's resources available on how to do that. Talk to your doctor, or you know, just start doing that. That's the whole point. Being aware of who you are, because it doesn't mean if you find a lump that, oh my gosh, I have cancer. There's so
Doesn't
many
mean-
other reasons,
Yes.
and don't just say dismiss it, because to Elizabeth's point, she doesn't have a family history of breast cancer. So just because you're not aware of that, there could be, you know, you just don't know down the lineage other types of cancer, and it just might show up in you as breast cancer. So I think really the key is self-awareness and knowing your body, knowing, you know, for women, when I have my cycle, usually I get more, you know, tenderness or more, you know, I feel more lumps in this area. And then after my cycle is passed, it goes away. If that's your normal and you know that, and that's a continuous, and you've also, you know, been advocating for yourself to do your own self checkups and going to your doctor on a regular basis, that's a component as well. Instead of, I'm not going to the doctor,
right,
you know,
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with me. You know, you don't know until you know. And so it's better to know versus getting, you know, completely knocked off guard with this whole new diagnosis that possibly could have been prevented, or like Elizabeth said, you could have been a pre-survivor before anything even got started.
It takes courage, and you guys continue to show that courage. That smile just lights up and radiates the whole room. And we appreciate
Of
you. I
course.
appreciate
Of
you so
course,
much.
of course.
Thank you for sharing your stories. It means a lot.
Of course, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
This conversation has been tough. It's been up, it's been down, but I'm so glad that we're able to have these type of conversations to bring awareness to these type of issues. And I think a lasting thought is that, number one, we appreciate our guests for their courage, Impact One for really going out there and being a beacon of hope for many that may be going through these similar issues. But again, you guys, do me a favor. Someone that you know that may be dealing with this right now, and they probably need to watch this broadcast, please just reshare it, share it back out there online to everyone you know. But the stories are real, the issues are real, and we want to make sure that the education and awareness about it is out there. So again, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Power Conversation with Councilman Harris. And thank you to our guests for coming on.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.